Round 5 of the Trans Tasman. It is the Saturday games. It is a big one because it is the last open weekend. Next weekend it is the final. The Crusaders, Blues and Highlanders that are playing on Friday, all of them can get into the final. All of them will want to win this weekend, and all of them have a pretty big shot of doing it if you do look at their competitors. First one out, the Crusaders. They need to win by at least 12 points more. They have to have a 12-point bigger margin than the margin of victory that the Highlanders have over the Brumbies, considering if the Highlanders do win over the Brumbies. If they don't, the Crusaders just need to win this game and they will get into the final. That is also saying the Blues need to win this as well. Looking at the two teams, the Crusaders are in a pretty good position to do that. All of their big names are back in their side. Bauer is at the prop. He joins Alalatoa, who is a very strong scrummager as well. They are up against Elof and Orr, who has been getting a little bit better, but the whole Rebel side have been struggling in this competition so far, and it's not going to get better with a couple of big names also now missing this week. McAllister, he's at number 2, replacing Taylor. I don't know why, maybe for All Black resting protocols or something like that. He's up against Ulysses, so also a pretty even battle there. In the locks, Liotta and Hosea, both of them have been good. Out of the Rebels team, there's probably 2 guys that do really stand out week in, week out, and that's those 2 so far in this Trans Tasman. But Barrett and Whitelock, being 2 All Blacks, being 2 very experienced players as well, that's going to be a tough ask for those 2 guys for the Rebels. Then Ethan Blackadder, he comes in for the side. He's up against Wells, who is captaining the team this week in the absence of Tuamua. So also a big game for the Rebels there, because Tuamua not being there is a big loss for them. He does basically make all of their points, does all of their decisions, and him not even being at 10, this whole Trans Tasman has already affected them. So not having him on the park is already going to be a difficult thing for them. Havili Talatue, he's on number 7 up against Hardwick. Then Douglas at number 8 versus Naisarani. Naisarani, they're going to look at him to get go forward ball. Drummond, he comes in at number 9. Mohunga at number 10. That is the preferred 9-10 combination that the Crusaders have been using this whole season. So that does strengthen their side quite a bit. Powell at number 9, and then Gordon, the youngster, at number 10. Powell, he's been playing every single game for the Rebels. He's been good so far this season. Gordon, the youngster, he's been good, but up against Mohunga, who he can easily get 30 odd points in a game. It's going to be a tough ask, especially for the Crusaders, especially when you play against the Crusaders that know they probably need a bonus point victory. That will just make it easier for them to actually get into that final. I mean, a final without the Crusaders these days is quite a strange thing, so the Crusaders will play their hearts out in this one. Vayu, he comes into Moa's place. Havili is up against him, who's also been in brilliant form. Braden Eno still fighting his way back from that injury. Up against Kellaway, who isn't a regular number 13, he's actually a winger, so that's also a strange call in the centres. So that midfield combo with number 12 and 13 is completely disrupted for the Rebels, while the Crusaders have Havili and Eno, 2 All Blacks. It's really a tough ask for the Rebels there. Sevo Rees, another All Black, comes in at number 14. Fahinga Anuku, a future All Black, really looks like he's going to get it quite soon at number 11. Betty at number 11 for the Rebels. He's one of the bright stars for the team so far this year. And then Frank Lamani comes in at number 14, the Fijian. Will Jordan at number 15 for the Crusaders. Look out for him to score a couple of tries in this one up against Worth. The 2 benches are both pretty even. The Crusaders probably a little bit stronger. They have Vela, Williams and Jaeger for the front row. Williams and Jaeger, both of them have scrummed pretty well. For the Rebels, they have Hansen, who's a pretty good hooker himself. Gibbon and Van Neck, that's the 2 props. Gibbon is a strong scrummager. Cummins and Haylett Petty, 2 more experienced guys to bring on. Dunshire, always a great player to bring on for the Crusaders there. And Tom Sanders, brilliant player. He had a couple of injuries again this season, but brilliant flanker to bring on as well. Bryn Hall, even kind of when you compare him to Drummond, you'd never know really who's the better one between them. Dallas McLeod at number 22, and then Matahele at number 23. For the Rebels, they have Tuttle at number 21, And that's where the experience stops, because then they have two debutants at number 22 and number 23. I do not think the Rebels are going to be ready for this one. The bookies also don't think it. They say the Crusaders to win it by 27 points. Remember, none of these teams are playing at home. This is at Sydney. That's not Melbourne, obviously. So for me, I think it's actually going to be a little bit bigger, considering that the Crusaders really want a bonus point win. I think the Crusaders to win by 31 points. That's probably the biggest margin I've put in this season so far. Let me know your prediction for that one. Let's get into the next one, which is the Blues, who is currently in first place. So they just want to win from this one. Win with a bonus point will be quite nice. But they are up against the Force, who stole the bonus point from the Crusaders last week there at the death. So the Force might want to do a little bit of the same, if not actually try and win this one. The two props for the Blues, that is changed in Laulala and Hodgman. Two guys in their right to also be starters. Very good scrummagers themselves. Eklund at number 2. They are up against two guys that has been really scrumming well in Australia in the form of Robertson and Medrano. Really good scrummagers there. Medrano, you can maybe update me. I think that's the only Argentinian that is still going to be in the Force side next year around. Kaitu'u at number 2. He looks like he's going to be in the Wallabies camp or Wallabies setup this year around. Thrush at number 4. The New Zealander up against Tuipulotu, the very experienced Blues captain. Kauli Tuioti at number 5. That combo looked really good, that number 4-5, because Kauli Tuioti has been in good form in this season when Tuipulotu was injured. Then Tamani at number 5. Lee Warner at number 6 up against Tom Robertson. Both of those guys are pretty similar. Both of them are lock/flankers. Both of them are pretty tall. Koteka at number 7 versus Papali'i, always a guy to look out for at breakdown time. Then Callan, who had a very good game last week out against the Crusaders. That was his first start for the Force as well. Up against Tutu, who is back again in the starting team, again subbing out with Akira Ioane. Ian Pryor, he gets a game this week again on the starting team. He's captaining the side as well, taking it over from Godwin. That is because Kubeli has been injured and he's been so good, Kubeli. So Pryor has big shoes to fill, because Kubeli has been managing the Force quite well in the shape and form that they want to play. Christie, he was quite good in this last couple of weeks as well. Otere Black managing his side up against McIntyre. Yes, they do say with Pryor and McIntyre, they're going to have a very direct approach to the game. They're going to attack very directly. But honestly, from what I've seen from the Force, they do play better when Kubeli and Miotti is the pairing. Let's see this week. Hopefully for the Force it does go well. But honestly, there's a lot of aimless kicking that sometimes happen with this 9-10 combo. And then on other stages, they pass in their own 22 when they shouldn't. And that isn't what you should be doing against the Blues. Then at number 12, Godwin, who's been brilliant this year, and Kuridrani at number 13, always a powerful number 13, up against Rico Ioane there. So that's a little bit of a battle that I want to see. The fast-running Rico Ioane versus the strong Kuridrani. TJ Fayani, let me not forget him at number 12. He's been brilliant in this Trans Tasman. He's up against Godwin. Kahui, he moves again from 11 to 14. He's been shifting around this whole Trans Tasman to make space for Aloafela. So let's face it, that's a good move. He's been brilliant this year, the Englishman. So last week again, scoring a very good try at 11 this week. Mark Talia, the slippery guy. Bryce Heem at number 14. Sullivan, the youngster, has been good so far at number 15 in this Trans Tasman. And then Strachan at number 15 for the Force. On the benches, there's a lot of changes for the Blues. They have a new number 16. I can't say his surname. I'm struggling. Ray Tuna Kwafe, the very strong prop, is at number 17. Renata, he's just as strong when it comes to scrummaging. So they have a pretty good scrum to bring on, or front row to bring on, to build in the second half. But the Force, they do the same thing with Reddy, Wagner and Holmes, who has been building their own combo this whole season. Macaulay versus Goodhue, also a bit of experience there in Goodhue. Akira Ioane and Stander, that's also two big guys to bring off of the bench. That's a mouth-watering encounter there. Two very similar Raging Bull type of players. Jonathan Ruru versus McDonald. McDonald, He was injured now for a long time, so it's his first Super Rugby game for the Force. Plummer at number 22, AJ Lamb, Miotti at number 22, and then the Irishman Rob Carney coming back from his concussion. The bookies are backing the Blues to win by 24 points. They think it's going to be a big one. I don't think it's going to be that big, though the Force, I think, would have done a little bit better probably if it was Kubeli and Miotti, even if it was just Miotti on the park as well. I don't want to hit that nail too much, but I do think he has been managing that team so well. Let's hope they prove me wrong, but I don't think so. I think maybe the Blues to win this one by 15 points. So let's get into the last game on Saturday, the last normal round game for the competition. The Waratahs have been hit by a lot of injuries in the form of Maddox also now being injured, Gordon, and then Pureki. All of them have been injured, and that's adding to a pretty big list of Waratahs players that has already been injured. So now Horton, he comes back from his injury in number 2. Tera Faulkner, he's at number 3, and that's joining number 1, Tuala. That is a pretty new-ish front row for the Waratahs. They haven't played much together this year. Ross and Slater, they are in the front row for the Chiefs. They are joining Ta'avau, who's been brilliant this year as well. So let's see how they go this week around. But I do think the Chiefs probably have the upper hand at scrum time. Capelli, he comes in at number 4, joining Vahi. Sinclair comes in at number 4, joining Wetton in the Waratahs team. Then Peter Gasuokula, who's been brilliant this year, is at number 6. He's up against Swinton, always the guy that brings some grunt to the team of the Waratahs. Dempsey, he moves from number 8 to number 7. They say it's his last game for the Waratahs. I'm not sure actually where he is going, so you can maybe let me know in the comments. Bashir, always a threat when it comes to the breakdown time. He's at number 7 this week around, and it's going to be difficult for the Waratahs to counteract him. Luke Jacobson at number 8 for the Chiefs. He was captain last week. He's up against Warren Wasayoko. I'm very excited to see him play more. I remember how he used to play for the Sunwolves, and I just want to see more of him with ball in hand. He's so good. Jack Grant, he's in this week. It's his first start in a long time now that Gordon is injured. Brad Weber in for the Chiefs, the captain of the side. So it's inexperience versus a lot of experience. I think Brad Weber is at 96 games or something like that for the Chiefs. Bryn Gatland at number 10 versus Will Harrison. Harrison has been managing the Waratahs side quite well since coming back from his injury. Both 11s are changed for the two teams, with Wainui coming in for the Chiefs and Ram for the Waratahs. That moves Nawaka Nitawase back to number 15 with Maddox being injured. Let's hope Nawaka Nitawase goes well at number 15. In the past, he hasn't done too well there. He likes to run it a bit too much. He's not always in his position either. Fuketi and Parisi, that's the two shining lights for the Waratahs. I say it every week. Even if their side doesn't do too well, they are in good form. Look, don't get me wrong, this Waratahs team actually are playing good attacking rugby. Like they keep mentioning, if the Waratahs are playing, it looks like some touch rugby is being played. Then Alex Newsom at number 14 up against Sean Stevenson. I almost forgot to mention the midfield changes for the Chiefs. They have Tupaya there, who's been strong coming back from his injury. I hope he maybe gets a call up or something like that for the All Blacks. And then Nankivell at number 13 in for ALB. Probably resting protocols or something like that. Not that Anton Leonard-Brown has been in the best form. I don't know, you can maybe disagree with me there. But I do think that number 12 and 13 is probably the two best informed centers at the moment at the Chiefs. And like I said in the other video, who is going to play the number 13 this year for the All Blacks is quite a mystery for me. Caleb Trask, he's at number 15 for the Chiefs. He's been managing the team quite well from the back. Getting to the bench, Takihawa, the big hooker, up against Abel. Pick Cowan, he's joining the Waratahs early because they have a couple of prop injuries there. Talakai at number 18, Norris and O'Neill for the Chiefs there. Can't really pick a better scrum pairing there for the two teams. Then Caird and Williams, the number 19 and 20, up against Taulani and Florence. Very, very young combo there in 19 and 20 for the Chiefs. They also have Xavier Rowe, also youngster. Will Harris is another forward for the Waratahs, so they have a 6-2 split this week, want to win it up front. Henry Robertson and Tane Edmund. And then for the Chiefs, they have experience in the form of Leonard Brown and Tia to round out their team. Guys, I do think that the Chiefs are supposed to win it. The bookies are also backing them. I think the Chiefs to win this one, probably in another nice and running affair this time around as well. I think the Chiefs to win this one, probably by, let's say, 17 points. Let me know your prediction for all these games down in the comments below. Check out these videos next to me. Hit the subscribe button. And then I hope I'll see you for the next ones. Cheers.